Welcome back, everyone. It's Eric from Rare Candy. Here today we are back with another recorded tournament series for you guys, and today this is going to be the top 8 match of a recent League Cup that I got to go attend at Cape Fear Games in Wilmington, North Carolina. So we have a top 8 match, top 4 match, and a finals match, so definitely stay tuned for whenever the rest of these rounds are uploaded as well. Links will be down in the description, of course. But here in this round we actually have yours truly. I'm going to be on the left playing the crazy Vikavolt deck. And over on the right, we have Gerald Pruitt, who's going to be playing kind of a Malamar, like, Spell Tag, Giratina type of deck. So it's a Malamar deck, but it's, like, really geared towards Spell Tags and, like, Giratina. So, interesting little non-GX matchup that we have here. I think just on paper, Gerald is probably the favored here, just because between Spell Tags and Giratina's ability damage, he can always pretty reliably knock out a Vikavolt, and he can always get Giratinas out of the discard pile to reuse his attackers, whereas I'm going to be reliant on finding a rare candy every turn to get my Vikavolt into play. So I think on paper, Gerald has the advantage, but I think both these decks are going to be trading back and forth pretty consistently once they get going. So it's basically, I think, just a competition to see who can whiff the first knockout in the exchange. But here it looks like Gerald is going to get to go first. He's going to get himself down an Inkay, and he's going to discard Cynthia with that treasure, grabbing himself another Inkay. It seems good. So if he discard his Cynthia, that tells me he probably does have a Lily in his hand. He probably wants to go for that first turn Lily and get that fresh hand of 8. So he's going to shuffle up. We'll see what else he can find here. He's definitely going to want to get some energy in the discard pile. And let's see. Okay, so he finds some energy, finds a spell tag. Does he have any more treasures or ultra balls? Okay, he does have an ultra ball, so that's nice. He can get rid of his 2 psychic energies and maybe find himself an attacker, or maybe just might go for a third Inkay. I think either one is going to be fine here. So he's going to favor the Inkay. That's good. You know, he's going to need these Malamars throughout the course of a game, so better to get the Inkays down, you know, while he can. And from there, we'll have to see, does he do anything else? Does he have an attachment? Okay, he does, and so he's going to attach to the Marshadow. I do like this. That's going to give him basically a retreating option for the following turn. And, okay, just to pass over to me, it looks like my hand's actually pretty stacked. A couple of Nest Balls, have an Ultra Ball, Lily in there as well. Okay, so we're going to see the 2 Nest Balls, probably just see a couple of Grubbins come down. Definitely need to get these guys into play as quick as possible. You know, much like Gerald's deck, I'm also very reliant on evolutions and things like that, so I need to be sure to get these, you know, puny little Grubbins down while I still can. And so here I'm just kind of taking a peek through my deck just to see what I'm going to have access to, you know, throughout the course of this game here. Probably want to check to see if my Field Blower is in the deck. That's going to be a very important card, getting rid of those spell tags. Going to get down an Escape Board. And going to get down a Choice Band, and then just Lily for a fresh hand of 8. Well, not a fresh hand of 8, just drawing until I have 8. So I don't see a switch card or anything like that, unfortunately, to pivot into Jirachi, but nevertheless, kind of set up to where we can probably get out a Vikavolt on the next turn. So let's see what Gerald can do here. So here he is going to get down the Giratina and just go for a Cynthia. Okay, so he's going to be looking for ideally 2 Malamars and an attachment. So if he can do that, he can take a knockout in this Grubbin and kind of, you know, go ahead in the prize race a little bit here. So we see a spell tag, see psychic energy, but no Malamars in sight that I can tell. So it looks like Gerald's just going to commit to the active Marshadow and put a spell tag on it. I actually kind of do like this play as well, because the 30 damage is actually pretty relevant from Shadow Punch, just because a Giratina only hits for 130, whereas the Vikavolt has 150 HP, so he does need a way to get some extra damage onto a Vikavolt. So I like this. He's going to put down the spell tag too, just to give himself some more spreading options. And here we're going to see just 30 damage come down from this Marshadow. So let's see if I can take a knockout. Okay, so I do have Rare Candy Vikavolt, so I should be able to make this happen. So I have Rare Candy Vikavolt. I have a couple of Ultra Balls, but I'm not actually sure if I can even play both of the Ultra Balls. I think I can afford to play one, just because I would have to toss like half of my recovery cards if I got 2 Charger Bugs here. So if you guys aren't too familiar with this Vikavolt deck, the Vikavolt has an attack for 3 lightning and the colorist does 120. then plus 100 if you discard all of its energy. But the Charge Bug in the set can attach itself as a double lightning to the Vikavolt, and it does not count as your attachment for turn either. So here you can see Gerald is having to read this Charge Bug. It's not a card you expect to come down very often. So let's see what I can get off of this fresh hand of 6. I need to find one more Charge Bug. Let's see. And I think I do find the Charge Bug, and I do have Rare Candy Vikavolt and another Lightning Energy. This is actually a really, really good turn. So I have 2 Vikavolts in play. Now, the one thing I think I will need to do at some point during this game, this is something I think I forgot about during the tournament, is I need to actually find another Charge Bug at some point to manually evolve a Grubbin, just because I only have 4 rare candies in deck, but, you know, I have to take 6 prizes. So at some point, I'm inevitably going to need some attacker that's powered up without rare candies. That's something I do need to kind of keep in mind throughout the course of this match here. So Gerald's going to ditch, it looks like a switch that was in his hand. Here he's going to grab a Lele to get a Lily and refresh his hand a little bit here. So he's going to be looking for a skateboard, Malamar, and an energy, I think. So he does have Viridian Force, that will get him where he needs to go. And he actually has a Giratina in hand, so that's perfect. He can actually ditch the Giratina with the Viridian Forest as well. So yeah, it looks like that Lily really paid off for him. So here he's going to get the Psychic Energy. I did not get a good look at what else was in his hand. I'm not sure if he does have the other combo pieces. Here's going to go for Adventure Bag. Okay, so that will allow him to get in a skateboard to get down on that Inkay and find another Spell Tag, which is really, really annoying too. These Spell Tags in conjunction with Giratina's ability are really going to, I think otherwise, you know, I think I would have a decent time here, but the extra damage from these abilities and spell tags, I think, pushes it to where Gerald can kind of keep up with the exchange with this Vikavolt. So here he's going to get down the spell tag, Psychic Recharge twice, and yeah, Gerald's going to be able to take a knockout of his own this turn as well. So he's probably just thinking, though, he does have to put... He's probably thinking, does he want to get back this other Giratina? That looks like what he's eyeing down. So here he's going to do that. He's going to use that Distortion Door ability. It allows him to put 1 damage counter on 2 of my bench Pokemon. So he's going to start setting up some other knockouts for the future. And here he's going to take a knockout. And he does have to put 4 damage counters somewhere on his board, though. So here I'm going to Field Blower, getting rid of the Escape Board and the Spell Tag. I guess I can play the Electro Power. I'm just trying to think, do I want to save it actually for a Dedenne GX play at some point? I know that sounds really weird, but the GX tackle on Dedenne actually pretty solid. I use it a good bit in my experience with this deck. But I was like, you know what, I'm just going to burn the Electro Power. We just need to find more stuff right now. But with Dedenne GX, potentially I can get a GX knockout with GX attack. That's like one of my only non-Vikavolt attackers in this deck. But here I'm using Jirachi. Let's see what I'm going to grab here. I didn't get a good look at what all was in my hand, but it looks like I'm going to be going for a Lure Ball. And here you can see Gerald has to read that. It's definitely a pretty obscure card. But you flip 3 coins for each heads, put a Pokemon, or specifically an evolution, from your discard pile back into your hand. So definitely good in this Vikavolt deck. And unfortunately just 1 heads, but you know, that's going to be enough to at least ensure that I can attack this turn. So, let's see. Oh, and we just remembered Gerald did not take his prize, so we want to make sure he did indeed take that. So, just trying to think what else we do. Here, I'm just going to use the Viridian Forest to... looks like Gerald's asking about something, but just going to use Viridian Forest to pitch away a Volkner and grab myself a Lightning Energy here. That way I can attack with this Vikavolt without needing another Charge Bug on it. But here it looks like I'm thinking about going for an Ultra Ball. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that. That way I can potentially evolve into a Charge Bug. So let's see here. And I do have a rare candy in hand, so I could even use the Ultra Ball to get another Vikavolt, but here I might even just take a knockout and just give myself the flexibility of getting some more cards in my hand before deciding what I want to Ultra Ball away. So here, getting rid of the escape board, definitely really, really big. If I can, you know, because now Gerald's going to need either another skateboard switch or a way to get, let's see, he would need, yeah, he would need, if he doesn't have the escape board, he would need the 2 psychic recharges, an attachment, and like another switch. So it just forces him to need one more combo piece. And actually, if Gerald whiffs this, I think I'm going to be just barely far enough ahead to win this game. Because that's going to give me a turn to, an extra turn basically to set up another Vikavolt, maybe find that Charge-a-Bug to manually evolve, you know, one of these Grubbins at some point as well. So big turn for Gerald here. This is a big one he really needs to be able to respond with to stay in this game. So we're going to see the double psychic recharge, okay? We're going to see an attachment. And let's see, he has a spell tag. But oh, he is going to go for a Guzma, opting to target down this Jirachi. That's actually a pretty good play from him. Jirachi's a pretty key card in the deck, allows you to keep, you know, finding these different combo pieces every turn. So here, just trying to think what we do. Definitely want to Volkner no matter what, so we can grab a Lightning Energy and maybe just, maybe a Lure Ball or a Rescue Stretcher. That seems pretty good, I would think. I think a lot of my hand is like Ball Search cards too, so I'm not sure what I want to get here. I believe I was kind of thinking I might want to get Jirachi back into my deck at some point, just because I don't really have much in my hand for the following turn. But at the same time, like, I could just kind of live off the field a little bit here, I think. Just because I have this Vikavolt. I can set up another Vikavolt this turn. But here, I'm going to go for a Stretcher. Looks like I'm just going to Stretcher, getting back Jirachi, Charge-a-Bug, and a Vikavolt, it appears. So we're going to put those back into the deck. I think I do have a Nest Ball in hand, too, if I'm not mistaken. So I might be going right back in. But here, okay, apparently I'm going to Ultra Ball instead. So we're going to get rid of, looks like a Electro Power, or maybe the other Ultra Ball that could be a good target. Or even the Lightning Energy, because I still have my Tapu Koko Prism Star in the deck, I believe it is. I don't think it's prized. Yeah, we see it right there. So I can just get back some Lightning Energy at some point anyways. So here, it looks like I might be going for a Vikavolt. I could even potentially try to like play down my hand and use Dedenne GX instead. But at the same time, that would give me like a 2 prize Pokemon on the field, which feels kind of bad. So we're just going to go for the Jirachi here as well. Kind of saying, you know what, I want to make sure I can use these throughout the course of a game. They're really important to helping me like set up all these different combo pieces. So here we're going to evolve this Vikavolt. I'm just trying to think, does it really matter if which one I evolve here? But I'm going to evolve the Grubbin with some damage on it, just to be safe. And yeah, so just trying to think, what do we do at this point? So here we're going to see a Distortion Door come down that is going to put my Vikavolt in range. And one reason I wasn't like too worried about the damage on that Vikavolt is because I believe Gerald actually has his other Giratina in the discard as well, if I remember correctly. So he would be able to get the second damage counter in play either way here. And we're going to see a Psychic Recharge. Going to see Spell Tag come down. Looks like he's debating if he wants to put it down. But he's just going to go for a switch. Interesting. I'm not sure why he wouldn't put the Spell Tag down here. That seems pretty good. So here looks like I might be eyeing down a Stellar Wish to start out with. And I do find a Lily. Okay. That's definitely going to be good. I think this is definitely going to be a big turn for myself as well. I think this is the turn I really need to manually evolve into a Charge-a-Bug here. And also get down an additional Grubbin that I can rare candy in the future. So here we're going to go for the Thunder Mountain. getting rid of that Viridian Forest from play. And we're just going to Lily for 3 here. And do find a skateboard, that's pretty good. And we're going to go for a lure ball. So 1, 2, and 3. That is actually pretty devastating. And that's unfortunately like something that happens when you play flip cards sometimes. You get all 3 tails. Oh, that's so bad. Okay, I mean, we can still technically get a knockout here. But getting all 3 tails is just so bad because now we can't really like set up something else for next turn. We have to Ultra Ball and use our Rescue Stretcher. Well, actually, you know, we could go for Dedenne GX here, but that would again require putting a 2 prize Pokemon in play. And that just feels kind of bad. So here we're just going to Ultra Ball. I mean, maybe that's actually what I should do, to be honest. Because what is so unfortunate about this turn is I think this is the turn I have to evolve into Charge Bug manually. And right now, if I knock out this Giratina, I'm just kind of banking on the fact that Gerald might not have a return KO on his next turn. But here I'm going to go for a Tapu Koko Prism Star, it appears. And yeah, just go for the Charge Bug. So getting some value out of this Thunder Mountain at least. And then we're just going to Electric Hand, take a knockout on this Giratina. So I really need Gerald to whiff a knockout this turn just because, you know, that Lure Ball kind of put me just, I think, one combo piece away from being able to set up for my next turn. But here Gerald has another Viridian Forest, has a Giratina. Does he have a switching card? That's the big thing he's really going to need here. But here he's debating where he wants to get down the Spell Tag. So exciting thing about Malamar, but he actually doesn't know I play no copies of Guzma whatsoever in this deck. This tournament was actually recorded several weeks ago. This was like right when Unbroken Bonds first became legal. So I know ever since we've had some people do kind of well with the Vikavolt deck, and so I think at the time of filming, a lot of people probably know what is in it and what isn't, but at the time, like I said, Unbroken Bonds had just become legal, so Gerald probably had no idea, you know, if I had a Guzma to target down his Malamars or not. So, you know, not knowing if I had Guzma and assuming I did, I think it's fine getting down the Spell Tag. But let's see what Gerald's going to do here. And he does have Mimikyu, which is super annoying. So here he has a Psychic Energy, and he can actually get down the Mimikyu and get down 2 Psychic Energies on it. He can actually copy my Electric Cannon attack here and take a knockout, which is pretty annoying. And he gets the extra discarding benefit that you get with Vikavolt as well, which is kind of a pain. So here we're just discussing to make sure we know the correct ruling on this interaction with Mimikyu here, copying Electric Cannon, because you normally discard all of your Lightning Energy to do 100 more damage, and technically Gerald still can do so even though he doesn't have any Lightning Energy. Here I'm going to go for a Stellar Wish, and we do find a Rescue Stretcher, definitely going to be good here. Honestly, this would be the type of turn I really wish like Dedenne GX would have been able to attack. This would have been one of those turns where attacking with a non-Vikavolt Pokemon would have been really, really nice. But here, honestly, I think I just kind of feel like that's game at this point, because I'm going to kind of like, I'm going to get down to 1 prize this turn more than likely, but then I'm just going to kind of like peter out afterwards. So the only other way... Yeah, I think I've honestly lost at this point. Well, it depends. I shouldn't speak too soon, because I'm going to knock out this Mimikyu, and then on the next turn, Gerald still needs another way to, like, switch, basically. So here, looks like I'm debating a rare candy, but yeah, I pretty much have to rare candy here. No reason not to. And let's see, just taking a peek, seeing what all we have in the discard there. Just trying to think, what are my outs here? And I think I was initially going to go for another Grubbin, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think I was like, okay, I'm going to go for a Grubbin, or no, maybe it was Charge Bug. I forget what was in my hand, but I know I had a turn where I like went to Stretcher for a Grubbin and then realized, oh wait, all of my rare candies have been used, so we can't set up Vikavolt. So here, this is actually the turn, yeah, because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get Grubbin. Then I realized, oh wait, we're out of candies. So what do we get? I think the only thing to get here is gonna be Mew, to be honest. Mew's the only thing that can. Well, actually, we can't even attack with Mew just because all of our lightning energy will be used after this turn. So yeah, the Stretcher is actually like completely pointless here. I think actually it would have been better to save the Stretcher on the off chance that Gerald doesn't have a knockout. That way I can get my Charger Bugs back. So here I'm just trying to think, like, what are my outs? This is the turn. I think I've kind of realized, you know, basically if Gerald has a return KO, he basically wins. Even though he has 2 prizes, he basically wins because I will be out of attackers. So what was that? Out of 6 lure ball flips, we got 1 this game. A little bit of bad RNG, I think, might have you know, done us in on this game. But we'll have to see. You know, if Gerald can whiff the knockout here, like I said, I can still win, I'm pretty sure. But here, I actually am going to discard all my energy just because Tapu Lele actually would be able to knock us out with Energy Drive. So I needed to make sure that I could, you know, avoid that type of scenario happening. Let's see. And so Gerald does have the 3rd Malamar, which means he can attach to the active and accelerate 3 to the bench. And then take a knockout with Giratina, and he should be able to win from there. He really doesn't need anything else at this point. He could find himself a spell tag or something, maybe. But he's good to go. Like I said, as long as he got the knockout this turn, he basically won the game. And here, he is going to take a KO, and I just scoop it up afterwards. So, kind of unfortunate. You know, I did lose kind of a narrowly, you know, pretty narrow and close game that we had here. You know, I think maybe if 1 or 2 of those lure ball flips had been a little bit differently, that would have given me enough resources to maybe keep streaming some Vikavolts throughout the course of that game. But of course, this is going to be a best 2 out of 3 series since this is a top cut match. So I definitely have a chance to bring it back here. And I do get to go first again, which is nice. But unfortunately, my opening hand is not too great. But I do have a Volkner here. And it looks like my hand is like 3 Charger Bugs, Rare Candy, Ultra Ball, and another card that I could not see. So here I am going to go for a Nest Ball and a Lightning Energy. And really, at this point, I'm just trying to think, what do I actually get off of this Nest Ball? Because I could go for a Jirachi and just hard retreat this Tapu Koko and start using Stellar Wish to maybe set up my next turn, potentially. I think that's an option. Or I could just go for the Nest Ball and go for a Grubbin here. And since Malamar actually doesn't have like a way to take a knockout on their first turn, I could maybe even just sit on this hand and go Rare Candy Vikavolt next turn and then knock out this Inkay. So here I'm just going to attach and then from there just pass. So I think going for the Jirachi might have been slightly safer long term, but here I'm basically just betting on that Gerald doesn't have anything like that. So the big thing that would throw a wrench in the gears here is if he has a spell tag to put on the active. That would actually really mess things up because then he could theoretically take a knockout the following turn. So as long as he doesn't get a spell tag down on this Inkay, I think I actually want to just go for a Candy Vikavolt, take a knockout. So let's see what he is going to do. He's going to go for a Lele, going for Lily here. Really trying to dig deep here and, you know, get that draw until he has 8 effect. And nice. So he's able to play down his hand entirely, and he has Viridian Forest. So this is actually a pretty good first turn for him so far. And we see a treasure. We see Viridian Forest, so he definitely has some ways at getting some energy in the discard pile this turn and finding some more Inkays. So let's see, he is going to treasure, going to go for the Inkay here. Definitely good. So he has 3 in play turn 1, just like last game. So his deck is setting up pretty well here, it appears. Let's see what he does beyond that. And he does have the spell tax. That's actually kind of problematic. Because I'm trying to do the math. If we have 4 energy, that's going to be... If he attacks with Lele next turn, that actually could be annoying. So if Lele is powered up, that's 20, 40. Then 80 on us. From all 4 of our energy. So we could, I think, safely knock out the Inke if we discard all of our energy. But even still, we could still potentially lose to just Tina, double recharge, attach, switch. So the spell tag is actually really, really big here. So this is kind of like forcing me to pivot into this Jirachi a little bit. And just kind of say, you know what, I'm just going to let your Inke sit there because now you can't get a skateboard down. And you're going to have to manually retreat in order to get this thing out of here. So I'm just going to go for the Stellar Wish and just try to set up. So here, unfortunately, no supporter in sight off the Stellar Wish, but we can grab an escape board at the least. I think our Jirachi is probably safe this turn. So here we're going to go for the escape board. And unfortunately, we don't have another Grubbin. But as long as this Grubbin on our bench is safe, you know, we're still hanging in there. I think we'll be okay. So we're just going to have to pass. And just very unfortunate, our opponent did have the spell tag. Otherwise, we definitely would have just like nuked that Inke with our Vikavolt there. So let's see what Gerald's going to do this turn. He is going to get down the Giratina. Oh, I didn't even realize he had the Giratina in discard pile. Huh. Must have slipped past me there. So here he is going to manually attach to the Inke and just Cynthia and refresh his hand here. So there is a world where he can still potentially get off an attack with this Giratina. If he hits like triple Malamar and a switch, that would actually do the job. And I think we see a spell tag, see some energy, see Guzma, I think a Viridian Forest. Can't tell beyond that. So we are going to see a Nest Ball as well. So let's see what he's going to get down. Maybe another Inke in anticipation of this one getting knocked out. I think also maybe going for Mimikyu could be decent, but here he's just going to fail the search. So maybe he has an Inke prized or something too. I'm not sure. So here it looks like I'm going to Viridian, getting rid of an Electro Power, grabbing a Lightning Energy, just to thin a card out of my deck before I use Stellar Wish here. That way I can increase my odds of hitting, you know, maybe a draw supporter or something like that. So here we're going to Stellar Wish. And we do hit Lily, so that's definitely going to be good here. And just trying to think, what do we do? And actually, no, maybe I should have evolved. Yeah, I definitely misplayed last turn. I remember even thinking about it on this turn. I was like, you know what? I could have actually just evolved manually into Charge-a-Bug last turn. So I definitely messed up not doing so. That's definitely a mistake on my part. But nevertheless, I didn't even hit Vikavolt this turn, so this is a super, super awkward like board position that I have here. And if this Jirachi gets knocked out, that's actually going to be pretty bad. So here, Gerald is going to get down a Psychic Energy, it appears. And just hopefully he cannot knock out this Charge-a-Bug. That would be pretty terrible. So we're going to see a Spell Tag come down as well. And so we're going to see a Guzma. And he's going to Viridian away a Psychic to get another one just to thin some cards out of his deck. Maybe his hand just really isn't too good right now. And maybe he's just trying to like trap me here for a turn and maybe make it to where I can't move this Charge-a-Bug and get knocked out. And here I do top deck Ultra Ball, so that's actually super, super good here. And just trying to think, what do we do in this situation? We have Field Blower, so I definitely want to use that. So here looks like I'm going to use Viridian to get rid of a Charge-a-Bug to grab a Lightning Energy. Because I already have one on there, and from there all I need is one more Charge-a-Bug. And I think I actually do have it in hand as well. And let's see, we're going to blower away the Spell Tag, and maybe the Viridian seems good, just because realistically Gerald's not going to ever throw a Malamar up in the active, so I'm not really worried about the Spell Tag back there. Here I'm just going to Lily for a few extra cards. And this is kind of unfortunate. I really need all these cards in my hand. I need to Nest Ball. So this is kind of awkward because I need the Ultra Ball to evolve into this Vikavolt, and I need the Stretcher to get Charjabug back, which is kind of a pain here. And here we're just going to Electric Cannon, taking the knockout. So maybe I should have like attempted to play down more cards before I Lilied there. I just did not want to burn those, like, discard the rare candies. Like, I could have Ultra Balled. I'm trying to think what I could have gotten rid of in hindsight. I could have maybe gotten rid of Field Blower, but I think getting rid of Spell Tags is going to be really important. Oh, and here we are going to just see a failed sleep attempt from Gerald here. But the thing is, my hand still isn't that great, so even if I take a knockout here, I don't even know what I would do. So here, I'm just going to... Oh, that is such a good top deck. We're going to switch. And let's see what we can get here. And we see a Cynthia, so that's good. If we can find, you know, Grubbin, or a couple Grubbins, maybe a couple Lure Balls or something like that, and knock out this Inkay, that would actually be really good. In this situation where, like, I kind of wish I would have gotten rid of the Spell Tag in hindsight. But I guess I just assumed Gerald was not going to just leave the Inkay active here. So here, going to retreat into another Giratina, and we have a switch in hand as well, if we do want to go that route. That is rough. Unfortunately, no ways to actually get a Grubbin down. That's a pretty big pain, I have to say. So what do we do? Maybe get a Stretcher, that could be good, or a Thunder Mountain. I mean, that seems okay. So I actually could potentially take a knockout here. Like, activate, tap Cocoa Prism Star, attach Charjabug, because I think I had one in hand, if I'm not mistaken. But at the same time, I don't like that, because then Mimikyu could just knock us out. So here, Gerald is going to bring back his Giratina, get down another Viridian. Looks like discarding Necrozma GX, definitely a pretty worthless card in this particular matchup. And let's see, and he does have a Lily, so he must have top decked that somewhere along the way there, so I'm sure Gerald is ecstatic about that to finally hit a draw supporter. So kind of an awkward game that we have so far. Here we're just going to see a Filch, and I'm stoked on that. And we top deck Nest Ball, so that's perfect. So we can grab ourselves another Grubbin. And starting to kind of get back into this game at this point, guys. You know, we can take a knockout here on this Mimikyu this turn more than likely. So just trying to think what route we're going to go this turn here. Looks like we're talking about something, or maybe I'm thinking about something, really not sure what was going on right here. Oh, I remember here I was like, you know what? We're gonna switch things up. We're actually going to try to take a knockout with the Dene GX here. So this is a little bit greedy because if I don't hit a Grubbin off of this Cynthia, but we play a ton of Nest Balls. We, you know, play 4 Grubbins, play Ultra Balls. So I'm working under the assumption we can get another Grubbin after this Cynthia, after this Jirachi. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to preserve my Vikavolts and make sure they're safe. So here I'm going to throw down the Thunder Mountain. And let's see. Looks like I'm going to fail the Stellar Wish, switch, attach Choice Band, play Electropower, and probably Cynthia. Huh. I definitely should have gotten down the Charjabug that was also in my hand, so that was maybe a little bit of a misstep for me. But here the reason I'm going for this Dedenne is because, like I said, I want to save our Vikavolts, keep them out of harm's way, and I feel like I have decent odds of hitting another Grubbin off of this Cynthia and Stellar Wish. And we whiff, so that's actually really, really bad. So this play might actually kind of come back to bite me here, because basically after we used Dedenne GX, if Gerald Guzma's up my Vikavolt and knocks it out, we're actually in really terrible shape here. So this is a play that I think would have been definitely solid had we had another Grubbin, but now that we don't, this play gets much, much scarier here. So just trying to think who we promote here. Probably just Jirachi, but looks like I'm debating which Jirachi I want to put up. So we're just going to put up the one with the escape board, just play it safe. And I forget if we do correct this, but I definitely do need to take a prize from this knockout. I do need to remember to do that at some point here. So does Gerald have a way to actually pull this off? That's the question, to go for the Guzma on the Vikavolt. So he does have an Ultra Ball. Let's see what he's going to go for. He's already played one Lele, but if he plays another, we're going to be in trouble. Oh wait, he still needs some Malamars in play. That's the one thing I didn't realize. So we're actually probably safe if I had to just assume from a Guzma this turn. We're going to see a Spell Tag come down as well. And an attachment and a recharge. Let's see, does he have... but he does have a switch, okay. So he will be able to take a knockout, and he's just going to Cynthia, okay. So maybe I should have promoted the other Jirachi, but maybe I have an escape board or a switch in hand that I can't see. So we see a treasure, so we could see him. Yeah, so he's going to pitch away an Ultra Ball, probably grabbing another Malamar at this point. And Gerald's deck is getting pretty low here. So we'll have to see what's going to happen. Alrighty. Let's see, I'm going to go for a Rescue Stretcher here, going to go for a Charge Bug. Going to get down a Choice Band just to thin it out of the deck at this point. And then we're just going to Cynthia, so we really need to find another Grubbin here. It's going to be pretty important. I just realized we both only have 5 prizes. I feel like we've done so much. Like we've drawn so much of our decks, but have not... but have not really done too much given all the resources we've been through. And ouch, that is pretty bad, unfortunately. So we have no signs of Grubbin, and this is going to be pretty bad for us if we get knocked out. And here, I'm going to discard all of that energy and just hope that Gerald does not have a way to knock us out here. We really need to have a turn where we stay alive. But here we're going to see a Distortion Door come down. And he finds all 3 of his Malamars. So yeah, this just generally feels bad. And our hand is just a complete mess right now too, so I don't even think we can win now. And just like that, this game might be over. Because now... yeah, Gerald's actually in a point where he can just loop his attackers over and over here. Because he has 3 Malamars in play, he has an escape board Pokemon, and he has Giratina. So you can always attack with Giratina every turn. And I just think, yeah, I think he's in a really, really good spot right now. My last turn was kind of awkward. I guess maybe the Dedenne play maybe came back to bite us a little bit here. But my thinking at the time was, you know what, we need to... you know, like I said, we only have 4 rare candies in this deck, so we need to take a knockout with a non-Vikavolt Pokemon or manually evolve through Charge Bug. And we had the opportunity to take one of our knockouts with a non-Vikavolt Pokemon, which I think was fine, just some kind of unfortunate draws after that, too. So here it looks like we might just retreat into Mew and sacrifice it. And I think that's kind of what we have to do here, because we need this Jirachi to keep finding our combo pieces. We need our Grubbins. And we're just going to pass over to Gerald. But like I said, since he is now going... He now has all of the pieces in play for every turn to be able to take a knockout. And he's going to be the one that's one prize ahead. I think he's going to be, like I said, just enough ahead to probably close out this game. And he gets down the spell tag too, which is a big feels bad. I forget if we've used our blower or not yet. So if we haven't, I forget if we did this game, but if we haven't, we actually could still be in a good spot after this coming turn. So here we have a Stellar Wish. We can grab a Volkner potentially. We have Rare Candy Vikavolt, so we can probably get a knockout this turn if I had to guess. So gonna play the Volkner. Let's see what we have. We're out of lightning energy. We can go for a stretcher. But the issue is we also need Field Blower, but I think I might have used it at this point because I didn't see it in the deck. And if that's the case, we're in bad shape because now another Giratina can knock us out on the following turn. Because the spell tag damage is going to be enough to put us within range of another Shadow Impact. So we're going to go for Lure Ball. And we'll just flip Triple Tails again. It's fine. And after that, you guys can see, I'm just scooping it up. Gerald's just a little too far ahead at this point. So unfortunately for me, I did lose in top 8 here to Gerald with his like spell tag, Malamar deck, and all of that. But like I said, guys, definitely stay tuned. We do have a top 4 match and a finals match coming up with links down below in the description for whenever they go live. But as always, if you guys did enjoy this content, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you can, consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or by picking up some merch from our online store. It would mean a lot. It really helps us afford to be able to travel to some of these events sometimes to be able to record these matches for you guys. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.